Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode where we are talking about real estate. Keeping it real estate. No.
Keeping it real.
Keeping it real estate related.
Nailed it.
Perfect start to this. So anyway,
Awesome.
Who cares? That was a good one. Today we're talking about inspections and what is the actual, or how do you guys see what do you guys see as the purpose of a home inspection?
It's to use it as a safety net to back out.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I wish I had like a big horn. I gotta work on that. Like beep, 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 beep. But yeah, exact opposite of that. I think it's really a buyer beware. Here's a good starting list of your to-do list. You know, we're looking for safety issues, hazardous issues, things that aren't readily apparent on a walkthrough. Like you peek up in the attic and there's no insulation. Okay, that's an inspection item that should be addressed, but I don't like the paint color or the condition of the carpet.
Right.
Well, you knew that on your walkthrough.
Yeah.
It's to find things. I went on to GPT just to see what their definition of a home inspection or the purpose of a home inspection is, and that's to turn up safety issues, maintenance problems that could create serious trouble or expenses down the road. And I was like, oh, that seems like a very appropriate definition, you know?
Do you think that buyers have the expectation that they should get something as a result of the inspection from the sellers, that they should be asking for stuff, that they should be asking for money off? Or do you think that most buyers see the inspection as, this is for my knowledge, and if something like what Tyler described comes up where it was something unforeseen, then we'll ask for repairs or money?
I think most buyers feel like they have to ask for something. I feel like, and I'd say most, and I think it stems from most agents. You know, they don't have that definition. They maybe take that first part where Tommy's like, oh, it's our chance to renegotiate. Well, no, it's not really. You know, I think that's the biggest thing that you can upset both parties at, even though you want the house. When we're looking at a $500 problem, okay, it shouldn't really be a problem. But we've seen a lot of little things become big issues because of egos getting in the way.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, what I oftentimes tell clients is, first, if they have an FHA or a VA loan, I tell them specifically, all I'm looking for in this inspection, if you want to request something from the seller, is something that might make your loan not pass.
Yeah.
If there's an electrical issue that's going to be obvious, if there's peeling and chipping paint, whatever that is. And then if somebody has cash or a conventional loan, I do tell them, like, if we can help it, my plan is just to continue forward after the inspection with no requests, unless we come across something where we go, yeah, you know what? We didn't know that prior to making the offer. Had we known that before, our offer would have been less. But when you go in and you find something where you go, well, it's not great, but they're going to buy the house regardless, I think that's what you're saying is oftentimes that's where an agent will go, well, let's see what we can get.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate on this.
Yep.
There's nothing wrong with that as well. You know, there was a change in the last 12 or 13 years from inspection timeframes where it used to, as soon as it was canceled as soon as the contingency was expired, we're no longer moving forward. Like, we don't have a deal anymore. Like, if you asked for something and your contingency expired, it's canceled. We're going to sign a cancellation. It stops.
Sure.
No.
That's no longer the case. It's the exact opposite. If we don't have something in writing, we're continuing as if no as if no amendment is submitted. So, playing that time frame and game, you have to know those timelines. And now, a seller, if you're a buyer, if you're in a really good negotiating position of just saying, hey, here, maybe you can, but also have the expectation of, you know, the battle of wits from who wants to, if you're really getting a tickle to negotiate, who wants to back down first, knowing that if we don't have an agreement by 11:59 p.m. on X day, you're buying the house regardless. Or, you know, so, you know, those are the type of things where they come into play. But I think it's a high risk, low reward situation when you're trying to, you know, play over a couple $100 on something where you're going to buy the house anyway.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think people just need realistic expectations. You know, go in, see if there's any problems that we didn't see, like we talked about. don't try to take advantage of the situation. You know, like you said, if you walk in and you get the inspection back and it's the carpet is worn out, you know, it's like, you already knew that. You know, don't go asking for $5,000 off. Like, it's just not ethical, you know?
Yeah.
What do you guys, do you have any stories of ridiculous requests that have come in before?
I'm sure.
Yeah, and I'm going to share one from, we'll just call her LS. You guys know who I'm talking about, from
Maybe.
our previous brokerage.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, her. Or him, but it's her. She had a listing. We're at a sales meeting, and she shared this story. It was, we want new shingles, we want new siding, and we want new windows. And she goes, send a cancellation. Like, it wasn't even a conversation. It was like, you want a brand new house on something that was very fair. It's like, send a cancellation. We don't even want to talk to you anymore. And you know, they ended up doing it, sold right away. I mean, this was in the peak of like 2021, 22.
Sure.
It's like that buyer was not educated. You know, so that is maybe one of the most ridiculous ones. Hearing about that, you know, I'm going to rack my brain as you guys share a story of some that I've personally experienced.
Mine was a personal experience from me selling. We were in a position not quite 2020, 2021 where our house had been on the market and we were desperate to sell. Because we needed to in order
And I
to
wish you
purchase.
knew that as a buyer, huh?
Yeah, well, maybe they did, because they did their inspection and they came back and said, we don't like that you painted your cabinets, which my wife did a fantastic job.
She's a good painter.
And they said, we don't like that you painted your cabinets, something they knew ahead of time. And we want all new siding on the house. And I think and they said, we don't like that we painted your cabinets. We want you to replace all the cabinets, as we have really nice countertops on top of them. And we just looked at them and we're like, no. And the agent, she even, to her credit, was like, this is coming from my buyers. This is not my opinion. I don't think that this is the way that this should be handled. This is what they want. And I just went, yeah, we're going to cancel. It was kind of the same response as what you just shared.
Well, like you said, that's not a problem that's wrong with the house.
Right. When they asked for new siding, there was nothing wrong with our existing siding.
They just didn't like it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll try that next time.
I had
Didn't work. 0 for 2.
I had one in St. Paul that we got the inspection back, and there was nothing major wrong with it.
Nothing major?
This was a very early 1900s home, though, so it's old, and there was a lot of little things, which you would expect. And they came back. They basically copied and pasted the inspection report into the amendment saying, fix all of these things. And, I mean, 25 items probably.
Oh, wow.
And they were all little things. And I was going down them. I was like, none of these are going to cost a lot of money. None of the, and I was like, yeah, we'll take care of them. And I think that kind of shocked them, because when we went back, we're like, well, we'll take care of them. They're kind of like, oh, really? Okay. And then like 24 hours later.
We were trying to get out of this thing.
24 hours later, they're like, we don't want to buy the house anymore. And I was like, why? And
Yeah.
it was just it was a bad buyer, at that point. That's just,
We want new outlet covers. We want this. We want that. And then
it was a lot.
Yeah.
It was a
So
lot.
like normal things that we see on every single inspection. I don't think I've ever been to an inspection where there wasn't at least a little bit of negative grade back towards the house. Mm-hmm. And say, oh, that's in everything. Like brand new homes, things settle. It's 100% normal. But that always kind of freaks buyers out a little bit. One thing I tell buyers, I highly encourage them to go to the inspection. I think they're doing themselves a disservice. I think the agent is doing themselves a disservice if they don't attend the inspection.
Yeah, definitely.
Because everything looks worse in writing than it does in person.
Yeah.
And
I usually
the attitude of the inspector, like when you see it in writing, it's like, it'll say moderate issue, but when you're there in person, the inspector might go, yeah, you know what, this is something that needs to get taken care of, but it's really not a big deal.
Right.
And they say that.
They just pick like low, moderate, and high.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are three choices.
Yeah.
So
I usually kind of preface my buyers going into an inspection just being like, look, even brand new houses are going to have things that come up on this inspection report. So just, keep that in mind as we're going through this. There will be items that come up, and
You should show them the video that we took of that walkthrough. We did that one new model home that looked like confetti blew up. There was tape everywhere. Through this. Yep.
so funny.
You should show them that video. Be like, look at everything wrong with this house. This was a model home.
Yeah,
that one was great. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with just is, septic issues. One was like, no, we want a brand new septic because it's old. Well, it's compliant and it works. Like, well, it's old.
So is the house.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Like, I get it that, well, a tree root might get in there. Well, an asteroid might hit us too. I mean, like, do you want some dome over the property? But
Tree root might get in the new one too.
Yeah, what? Seriously? No.
The same tree's still there.
I'll tell you one quick story, and this really has a little bit to do with an inspection, but kind of not really. I met this new couple. This a few years ago. Now, because the price will actually kind of make you like, oh, okay. They needed a 5-bedroom home with 4 bathrooms. The backyard needed to be south-facing on a 1-acre lot with a septic, but on city water. And I'm like, oh, okay. Or vice versa. City sewer and a well. City sewer and a well.
Yeah.
That's here,
what I would want.
And it was under $375,000. And I said, on 1 acre, and this was like between St. Michael and Buffalo. And I'm like, hey, good luck. I said, we can put you on a search here, but what you're looking for is very, very, all the bedrooms upstairs had to have south windows.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's like, all right.
They should probably build that home.
It came down the market 2 days later. 2 days. And like we went through it and I'm like, guys, this hit all 10 of your requirements.
And I promise you, no other house will.
Right.
This
it was
is the
all
only
10.
one.
And they're like, oh, yeah, no, we're going to buy this. And then the inspection came back and I'm like, oh, please. And they kind of got iffy about little things. I'm just like, guys, this is everything that you looked for. And look, this hasn't been on the market in forever, and it hasn't probably been because the prices just skyrocketed. That's a $650,000 house now. But I found it. I was just like, well, heck, we look like geniuses there, but that was 100% luck where it could have been derailed from a bad inspection, but we had a great
That was the only one. That was the only house that fit the criteria.
Literally the only one.
Yeah.
It's probably been the only one since, but
Yeah.
Wild.
Enter all the criteria, check the 10-year history, see how many come up.
yeah.
I mean, actually.
So,
Huh.
yeah. So to recap, inspections is kind of our opinion is it's for a buyer starting list of, hey, we learned a little bit more about this house, and as a seller, yep, it's okay to be a little bit flexible on it, and kind of depends on how motivated you are. But again, I think during an inspection, I think you have a little bit more leg to stand on. A little bit more firm holding as a seller when it comes to amendments. But, it all depends on your personal situation.
Yep.
And if you want to learn more about your personal situation, go to NorthstarProRealty.com and get in contact with any one of us.
Love it.
Sounds good.